Welcome folks, we're smashing again with another video here, and we're starting with March 6th, which is Thursday, and I wake to a new day absent of any thought whatsoever. Once outside the tent, I observe the sun rays penetrate the skin. I sense a warmth, charge, and vision that meter go off the right of the scale's edge. Susan comes out of the tent and wishes, then she prepares breakfast. After we enjoy breakfast, we walk out past the pond. Along the way, we observe 2 logs suitable for a fire. We walk back to the campsite and I fill the water containers. Then I hang 1 5-gallon container from a branch of a tree. I gather writing materials. Susan makes similar sammies. Then we walk across the road to a table to write and enjoy the sammies. After we write, I walk back to the campsite and hang 2 bamboo curtains to the tree and around the water container, forming a Y with the open side facing the hill. The water container has a hose with a shower head, though it is not well made. Susan comes over and I shower first as she holds a towel and stands in the open way. In turn, I hold the towel for Susan and block the opening. She finishes. I go out to the table and shave, then we sit, groom ourselves, and bask in the sun. One of the 2 men that occupies a space somewhere close to us rides into the area on a large brown horse, then stops close to where Susan and I sit. He asks, "Are you people artists?" He looks over at some signs that are leaning against Howard. "No, those are signs that we use to generate income as we travel through the USA, I say. "What do you do?" "Write and ordain ministers, enjoy life as we perceive it." It is easy to see that he does not know how to handle that. Perhaps it is good that he has a little to drink, as I can smell the aroma of whiskey about him. The man asks, "Do you do any hunting?" "No, we are not flesh eaters." "How's about fish?" "Should we lack in protein and have no other way to obtain it, we will partake in fish, though few kinds." "I caught 24 trout from the stream the other day," he says. "I was not aware of trout in the stream." "Over by where I live, there are about 50 different wild grains." The man begins to talk about mountain lions, cougars, puma, all the same to me. I ask him, "Are there cougars or other like animals in the mountains here?" "There are cougars, elk, deer, bobcats, and Indians." "Are not the Indians on reservations?" "No, some Indians live on the reservations, but most of them live in the mountains. They are pretty wild up here. My partner saw some squaw. He picked one out the other day to get some lovin'. Wanted to get himself a little lovin'. He passed her and she bit the rope in 2. So he thought he'd better leave her alone. Do you believe there are lions in the mountains?" "I do not believe anything, though I do think so." "The word cougar in Indian means ghost. In 45 years I never have seen one. Those damn environmentalists are saying that the cougars are extreme, that no one can hunt them. There are about 300 of them in these mountains. Those damn environmentalists are communists. They're about to take over the country. I was a fighter pilot in the war and I have 3 Purple Hearts." He seemed proud that he has the medals or that he has been wounded. It is hard to tell. "I am a disabled vet and I've been commander for the last 12 years. The mayor wants to be commander now. I can detect one thinks that the mayor is not such an all-right guy. I didn't want any part of it anymore and I took my name off the list. I told them I won't run. There are 45 people in the organization and when the time comes to vote, 40 voted for me and 5 voted for the mayor." Smiling, he says, "I guess that tells you what people think of me. They must like me. Yep, I got 3 Purple Hearts and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the U.S. and I'm a flag waver. I'm proud of the U.S. flag." "Patriotic, huh?" I say. "Yes, sir. There's a woman came to camp with us yesterday that is writing a thesis to get her PhD on cougars. I read her book and told her there isn't any truth in it. I told her I'll tell you about cougars. She's probably ashamed. The damn environmentalists say the cougars are becoming extinct. They never see them anymore. Cougars mean ghosts. I haven't seen one in 45 years. They won't find them in the pool hall or restaurant or show. I wish all the environmentalists would go to the mountains so the cougars could eat them, all. A cougar just 3 days ago had eaten a 14-year-old boy just on the other side of the mountain. They waited 2 damn days before they asked me to look for it. There were 2 boys and the cougar attacked the one boy as the other boy began hitting the cougar with a stick. The boy thought the cougar could attack him, so he ran back home to get help. When they came back, the boy was there with only 2 legs, 1 arm, and they found his head away. That cougar was probably 25 years old and couldn't catch any deer or elk. We're going to stay a couple of days, then head back. There is blood coming from the horse's nostril, I say. As he fell down, hit my knee, he probably hit his nose then. He starts the horse in the direction he camps and says, "I'll bring up a cod tomorrow." Susan gets up and washes the dishes, and then we go for a short walk. Later, when we get back, I build a fire with what wood we have left, create some popcorn, and enjoy themselves as evening presents itself. The sky being clear reveals the stars, and there is a little wind, though their air is cold. After the fire is nearly out, we retire the tent and conclude the day. I will die to the day, the yesterdays, and awake to a new day with a clear mind, ready to absorb the fresh new day. Friday, March 7th. Friday, awake, observing our minimum rays from the sun. Once Susan and I are outside, we observe the sky is cloudy, though perhaps the clouds may disperse later in the day. After we wash, Susan prepares breakfast, and we go for a walk. As we walk, I observe a caterpillar make its way up the middle of the road. Nearby, I pick up a stick, lay it in front of the caterpillar, and it crawls onto it. I pick up the stick and carry it off to the side of the road, where I lay it down on the ground. We walk a considerable distance further, turn and walk back to the camp. We take some writing materials, walk over to a picnic table we have set before, and we begin to write and talk. Later, Susan goes into the campsite to make some Sammys. A minute or 2 after she leaves, I hear a noise from somewhere in the sky. I look up and observe a hawk circle and call to me once as if to say, "Watch me, I have something to show you." It keeps circling counterclockwise at approximately 30 feet. The wings look to be so streamlined, tipped at the ends. I observed I'm caught in the magnetic movements of the hawk gladly as a child. The hawk, master of the air and perhaps of a few other things, has something to show me. The ends of the wings move to keep balance, to keep stable it seems. The hawk keeps circling, it gains altitude and does it effortlessly. Soon the hawk is small and becomes difficult to see. I look down at the papers for a second, then I look up and the hawk is nowhere to be found, vanished. Everywhere I look, there is no hawk, no anything to be seen. Such a beautiful experience, and that beauty was there when thought was not. What a show! I observed the self observing the hawk in the absence of thought. The mind was utterly silent, and the object cannot be described. Susan comes over with some Sammys, and I begin to report what I had experienced, though I understand it is now second hand, past tense, a dead thing. A memory locked into the subconscious, though free to flow into the conscious. Susan can only imagine what I experienced. To her, this is all second hand. There is not a way she can experience it live. Only could she have seen the hawk herself. We continue to write, then we walk back to camp. Susan prepares dinner. We have macaroni and cheese, lima beans, bread, and hot tea. After dinner, I remove supplies off the top of Howard, then we get in and I drive us to the creek. Here we gather a supply of wood that seems dry, loaded on Howard, then I drive back to the campsite. We unload the wood and Susan brushes the debris off of the top of Howard, and I put the supplies back on the top, then proceed to cut some wood into shorter pieces. Later we move to Howard, look over some maps, go over various strategies and what will be needed when we arrive at Albuquerque. We agree that we still will leave here Wednesday instead of the scheduled Friday. The wind has been an effective block in regaining strength lost when in Tucson. From Howard we move to the tent where we conclude the day. I would die to the yesterdays, and wake to a new day with a fresh, attentive, aware brain. That takes us to 8th of March, Saturday, folks. That's going to conclude the video scenario for now. I hope you truly enjoy. Stick around to be able to read listen to a very, very good book through the eyes. Thank you, folks.